We're back with a Fox News alert. President Biden addressing the terror attacks in Israel just minutes ago at the Human Rights Dinner campaign.
Yesterday, I spoke for over an hour with a family member of those Americans who are still unaccounted for on a Zoom call. They've endured an agony of not knowing what's happened.
David Spunt is live from the White House with an update. David?
According to a reporter in the room, there was a brief interruption by a protester who yelled, "Let Gaza live, let Gaza live, ceasefire now." It was hard to make out on camera. The president said he could not hear specifically what the protester was saying. However, he did go on to say this about the tragic situation in the Middle East. Listen.
A week ago, we saw hate manifested another way in the worst massacre of Jewish people since the Holocaust. More than 1,300 innocent lives lost in Israel, including at least 27 Americans. Children and grandparents alike kidnapped, held hostage by Hamas.
So the top priority for this White House when it comes to this war is finding and bringing home any missing Americans. Before that happens, they have to be found. At least 15 unaccounted for. The president believes some may be held hostage. Watch this.
To those holding American hostages in Gaza, you say what?
I say we're going to do everything in our power to find them, everything in our power. And I'm not going to go into the detail of that, but we're working like hell on it.
Yesterday in Philadelphia, the president told the crowd that he spoke to family members of those missing on a Zoom call. He said his administration is working around the clock to learn more. Now, the president's messaging was reinforced earlier today when Secretary of State Antony Blinken visited Saudi Arabia. While the country's foreign minister did not once mention Hamas by name, Secretary Blinken did. He did not hold back. He called Hamas a terrorist organization. Now, both agreed a safe passage for civilians is critical. As Aisha mentioned at the top of the show, sources tell our colleague Jackie Heinrich that the U.S. had actually urged Israel to delay any ground invasion into Gaza until a route was secured. When pressed by our other colleague Peter Doocy yesterday about his concerns regarding a ground invasion, the president said his biggest worry about a ground invasion, one word, death. Back to you guys.
Guy, I'm going to go to you first. I mean, we're looking at possibility of 15 Americans missing, possibly being held hostage. The president spoke to the family members on Friday. Apparently 14 of those that are missing, now it's 15, spoke to their family members on Friday. How do you think President Biden is handling this, considering, and do you think the president has done enough sufficiently to address this issue with Hamas?
Well, first of all, just the agony of these families is unimaginable. You have 29 dead Americans now, more than a dozen, it seems, likely being held hostage and up at night, unable to function, I would imagine. It's got to be horrible. I think President Biden has had some really bad policies that have led us to this point. I've been very critical of those, and I think we all should be clear-eyed about what his administration has done. That being said, I think some of the public statements that he has made to the American people and to the world have been very strong. No equivocation, lock, stock, and barrel behind Israel, which is exactly the right tone to adopt, with the one asterisk being they are really going out of their way not to mention Iran or even reference Iran's involvement in this. And I think that's a question in my mind of why and how long they're going to keep that up. Last point, I would love to know how the president was received at that dinner tonight. This is a left-wing LGBT group, and I have been personally shocked to see so many people in the LGBTQ community, out of intersectionality or whatever, standing effectively with Hamas against Israel, which is a pluralistic society with gay rights. To say that that is not the case in Gaza is an understatement, and yet. So I wonder how Biden's clear message actually played in that room among a lot of people.
I felt the same way, Guy. That went straight through my head. I saw it in the streets. I saw many members of the LGBTQ community marching, very pro-Palestinian. I don't know if they understand the difference there. A lot of them are young people who really have no concept of what's going on in that region. Aisha, I was going to ask you the same. How do you think his response has been? President Biden did have a call with Prime Minister Netanyahu. He also reached out to the Palestinian Authority. How do you think the United States kind of balances this out? Because it's a very, very difficult situation to try to deal with both very opposing groups.
I think all you have to do is think about what it would be like right now if this was your sister, if this was your father, grandmother. How would you feel right now if your government 1 week later had no answers for you and your families were still being held? I mean, it's not just the hostages, Pete. It's also the Americans that have been stuck in Israel not being able to get out. Do you know what Congressman Corey Mills from Florida was doing all last week?
Right.
He wasn't here picking a speaker on Capitol Hill and playing politics. He was over there on the ground getting our people out while the government was trying to figure it out.
It's a great point, and it could only get worse depending on what they decide to do with those poker chips and those hostages who are human beings. And we saw what ISIS did, showcasing them. If Hamas starts to do that, where does it go from there?
I mean, Congressman Mills did yeoman's work. He was on that bus and he was bringing people home, and I think that was so important. It was a great show.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.